today's class, that is Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Today we are going to start. Okay. So before we start, let us recite the Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadanti Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Udapatakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajevam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parijratsaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Vishakam Vidamsya Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharirādhari Kripambudhiryastamaham Prabhadye Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Surupakam Bhaktavadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktigam Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So since we are taking teachings of Lord Chaitanya, so we can add these three prayers before we start. One is Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharirādhari Kripambudhir Yastamaham Prabhadye. And second is Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Surupakam Bhaktavadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktigam. Then Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So this we can add as invocation mantras. Okay, just before we start, because it is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. If you don't know, I can send it in the group, WhatsApp group. I think most probably you all must be knowing that. What is Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga? Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come in? Krishna has come in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, Vairagya Vidya. What is Vairagya Vidya?
Knowledge of renunciation.
Yes, knowledge of renunciation. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. And what is Nija Bhakti Yoga?
The topmost bhakti.
Yes, the topmost devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana. Shiksha means to educate. Purusha Purana, it's the oldest. Purusha Purana. This is about the Supreme Lord. Okay. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana. Sri Krishna Sharira, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. What is that?
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharirādhari.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharirādhari. So he has come as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sharirādhari, wearing his body. Who? Krishna has come. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharirādhari. Kripambudhir, yes, Tamham Prabhu. Please give us your mercy. Okay, please give us your mercy. To Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are requesting, we pay our respectful obeisances unto you, Lord Krishna, who has come in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us the knowledge of renunciation, okay, and the devotional service. So this is one. And other one is Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam. Okay, so this Lord Krishna has come in 5 features. Pancha Tattva. Bhakta Rupa Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam. Okay. Who is Bhakta Rupa?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Swarupa?
Nityananda Prabhu.
Nityananda Prabhu. Okay. This incarnation Swarupa. Bhakta Rupa Swarupam. Bhakta Avadaram Advaita Acharya. Okay. Bhakta Avadaram and Bhaktakyam. That is devotional energy. That is Narada Muni. Bhakta Avadaram is in Gadadhara. Bhakta Avaram, Bhaktakyam. Bhaktakyam is Gadadhara. Okay. So we have finished. Bhakta Rupa Swarupam Bhakta Avadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Bhakta Shaktikam is that is devotional energy. That is Narada Muni. Okay. So he has come in 5 tattvas. Okay. So like that. So Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So I pay my respectful obeisances to all these Panchatattva. So if we can by heart this, we can include in our invocation mantra every day before we start reciting or reading anything about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially these teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Chaitanya Charitamrita and all. Okay. Now, before we start the class, what about the shlokas of last week? Which was that? 10.11?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
4.11 Prabhuji.
Sorry, 4.11. Yeah. Can you please? Recite.
Yes Prabhuji.
Yeah.
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तान् तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वशः.
And some of the devotees already, and recited last class in Sunday class. For them, I think I had given 4.13 Chadur Varnyam Maya Srishtam. Right?
Can I say?
Yeah, please. Parth, please.
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वशः.
Very well. I had told you to learn this last week. I remember. That's why you learned it. Very good. Okay. Any devotees who have not recited this last Sunday, they can recite now. Kapil Prabhu and Madaji. You
Hare
are
Krishna, Prabhu.
driving, Prabhuji?
Yeah, we are outside little. Actually,
Okay.
Silpa just went for 5 minutes because we are little late. We thought we will reach, but maybe 10-15 minutes, another 10-15 minutes. We will be
Okay, no problem.
reaching at
Have
home.
you studied this, Prabhuji? Otherwise, next week we can.
Extremely sorry, Prabhu. Next time, surely I will recite.
Okay. Uttama Bhakti Mataji, have you recited this last time? And okay, I think she is not. Jiveshri Mataji? No?
Prabhu, I will teach in next class. Prabhu.
Okay, sure. Then for others, text 13, that is Chadur Varnyam Maya Srishtam, Guna Karma Vibhagasha, Tasya Kartaram Abhimam, Vidya Kartaram Abhyayam for next week. Okay, for Thursday class devotees for next week, this is 4.13, please by heart. And for Sunday devotees, I have given this sloka last Sunday, so they can recite it on Sunday next week. So let me share the screen. Hare Krishna, the screen is visible.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. So we'll start from introduction. Okay. So teachings of Lord Chaitanya, introduction. Originally delivered as 5 morning lectures on Chaitanya Charitamrita, the authoritative biography of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by Krishnadas Kaviraji Goswami, before the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, New York City, April 10 to 14, 1967. Okay, so this as compiled by the devotees from the lectures delivered by Srila Prabhupada in New York, April 10 to 14, 1967. The word Chaitanya means living force. Chaitana, Chaitanya. Chaitanya, we know that we say Chaitana. Charita means character and Amrita means immortal. Okay. As living entities, we can move, but a table cannot, because it does not possess living force. Movement and activity may be considered signs of the living force. Indeed, it may be said that there can be no activity without the living force. Although the living force is present in the material condition, this condition is not Amrita, immortal. The words Chaitanya Charitamrita then may be translated as the character of the living force in immortality. So this is how it has been interpreted or translated into English languages, the meaning of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Why they are referring Chaitanya Charitamrita? Because this is a condensed or summary study of Chaitanya Charitamrita, these teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Okay. So Chaitanya Charita Amrita, the means the character of the living force in immortality. Because in the present condition, although we have Chaitanya or we have Chaitanya, but we are mortal. Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to teach us that living force in immortality. That means when we get freed from this material world and go to the spiritual world, we will be immortal. In this material world, we are mortal bodies. Our body is mortal. So this is the summary study of the character of the living force in immortality. So this Atma, this soul or this self actually is immortal. But unfortunately, when we come in contact with the material world, we wear a body or we get a body which is mortal. That's why we say the mortal body. He left the mortal body, isn't it? The body comes and goes. We get different bodies according to our different karma and desire. So in the material world, we keep changing the body according to our karma and desire. And this body is perishable. But when we go back to the spiritual world, we will get a body that is immortal, will never get destroyed. So that's what it means. So the character, so this is what is teaching us in this book, the character of the living force in immortality. Okay, but how is this living force displayed immortally? It is not displayed by man or any other creature in this material universe. For none of us are immortal in these bodies. We possess the living force, we perform activities, and we are immortal by our nature and constitution. But the material condition into which we have been put does not allow our immortality to be displayed. It is stated in the Kathopanishad that eternality and the living force are characteristics of both ourselves and God. Although this is true in that both God and ourselves are immortal living beings, there's a difference. as living entities, we perform many activities, but we have a tendency to fall down into material nature. God has no such tendency. Being all powerful, he never comes under the control of material nature. Indeed, material nature is but one display of his inconceivable energies. So, you got it, or any doubts in this so far what we have read? So what is the difference between the mortality and immortality of the living being? So what does it mean that we are immortal or we are mortal? How do we distinguish these two aspects when it comes to living beings? Can anyone say? Yes, Parag Prabhu, you want to say?
Sorry, Prabhuji, I cannot explain.
Okay. Anybody else? What is mortality or immortality? How can we explain? Okay, what is the difference between our immortal state and the Lord's immortal state? It is there in the purport, I mean the para itself. What's the difference?
We living entities have a tendency to fall down into
Yeah.
material.
Okay. Okay. So when the living entities fall down to this material nature using his own independence, free will, he will take a body which is mortal. But when the Lord descends to this material world, he is not subject to any, mortality. He is always immortal, whether he is in the spiritual world or in the material world. He is always immortal. He doesn't fall down. He comes on his own sweet will. Okay. We come down to enjoy more or to lord over the material nature, to assume the position of God. Sometimes, the children want to behave as if they are elders. They are not elders, but they want to taste what is, they are enjoying in that position. What is my father is enjoying or my mother is enjoying in that position. Suppose father is driving the car. The child wants to know how he is enjoying. I wish that I drive the car. Okay. So the father keeps the child on his lap, then make him drive. But actually who is driving? The father is driving. And the child is thinking that the child is driving. So similarly, the living entities in the material world, how is that only Krishna wants to enjoy? Let me also become the enjoyer. But as we all know, in the spiritual world, that sort of thought can never prevail. So he is sent down to a place where we can seemingly enjoy such a position. So that is what this material universe is. Actually, we are not enjoying because we are enjoyed by the Supreme Lord, since we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So for us, it's a playground for us. For the living entities, a playground, this material world. Okay, once the game is over, you have to go back home. Isn't it? Any children, they go out for playing. At the end of the day, they have to go home. Similarly, once we finish this so-called game of pretending ourselves, thinking ourselves as the Lord or as the enjoyer or as a proprietor or as a controller, once we finish that game, we have to go back home, back to order. But within that course of time, we may have to take different bodies in this material world because we have different desires to enjoy. So that is the reason we go from one species to another species, thinking that I will have more and more enjoyment in that body or in that situation. So when Lord comes here, he's immortal. When the Lord is in the spiritual world, he is immortal. Whereas when we come to this material world, we are mortal. We are called mortal beings. Okay, because the body that we get is destroyed at the end of that particular lifetime. So that is the difference. Is it clear? So an analogy will help us understand the distinction between ourselves and God. From the ground, we may see only clouds in the sky, but if we fly above the clouds, we can see the sun shining. From the sky, skyscrapers and cities seem very tiny. Similarly, from God's position, this entire material creation is insignificant. The living entity is also insignificant, and its tendency is to come down from the heights where everything can be seen in perspective. God, however, does not have this tendency. The Supreme Lord is not subject to falling down into illusion, Maya, any more than the sun is subject to falling beneath the clouds. Impersonalist philosophers, Mayavadis, maintain that because we fall under the control of Maya, when we come into this material world, God must also fall under Maya's control. This is a fallacy of their philosophy. So there is a misconception that when we come to this material world, we'll come under the subjugation of Maya or clutches of Maya. Similarly, when the Lord, Supreme Lord, who is the proprietor of all the creation, when he comes down to this material world, he also come under the control of Maya. That is, that is the fallacy of their philosophy. Whose philosophy? The impersonalist philosophy. He doesn't come under Maya or under any of his energy. Okay, the energetic never comes under the subjugation or clutches of the energy at any point of time. Yes, at his own sweet will, he may display such what you call characteristics sometimes for Leela purpose. For Leela purpose, he may assume such, okay, I am also subjected to Maya. But is he in Maya? No, he is not in Maya. So that is a difference, because he employs his own energy, be it Yogamaya or Mahamaya, be it internal potency or external potency. He has the right to employ those subordinate energies in his Leela. He may do that. But we should never suspect that he comes under the control of Maya. This is what we have to understand. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should therefore not be considered one of us. Why? So, what is the difference between Lord Chaitanya and Krishna and other avataras? For example, Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, Narasimhadev, Vamanadev, Lord Rama. Okay, and Malsya Kurma Maraha, so many. He is avatari. Okay, because there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only just like we put on the usual, our casual attire at home. When we go to office, we may put coat, suit and all. So the person remains same. The attire changes, that's all. Isn't it? Similarly, there is no difference between Krishna and Chaitanya. But there is a difference, slight difference in his avatara. Because, that personality descends, comes from that avatari. Avatari is the source. Krishna is avatari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is avatari. That's the source from whom all the avataras comes. That's the difference. So he is Krishna himself, the supreme living entity, and as such, he never comes under the cloud of Maya. Krishna, so does it mean that other expansions or avataras comes? No. There is no difference between the avatara and avatari, but still, the one is the source. The Krishna is the source, and other from that source comes, expands. His expansions and even his higher devotees never fall into the clutches of illusion. So we have to, this is also clear. His expansions, like any avataras for that matter, and even his higher devotees, that is pure devotees, never fall into clutches of illusion. So some may argue, because these pure devotees also leave the body, okay, they also suffer. And why is that? How can we understand that? There are so many pure devotees of the Lord who had to undergo a lot of turbulence, turmoil, difficulties, impediments in their life. We can see in the life of Srila Prabhupada himself. So how can we understand that? Here, Prabhupada himself says, his expansions and even his higher devotees never fall into the clutches of illusion. So how do we understand this? We are seeing and we have seen all these pure devotees have suffered a lot in their lifetime. So how do we understand this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Kapil.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Prabhuji, I understand the reaction while facing the situation is different. Like the way we may see the situation in order to face, maybe that change and that helps because of this our understanding and knowledge, our response to the situation.
Okay. So our response to the situation and their response to the situation differs, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other points? Hare Krishna. So any other points? Now here says his expansions and even his higher devotees never fall into the clutches of. Even when Krishna came, Lord Rama came, Parashurama came, we know that they also had some challenges, isn't it? How they dealt with it is different. How we are dealing with it is different. So when they come to this material world, they also, they don't deviate from the norms of this material world. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they also follow certain rules and regulations to guide us. It's not that they are supposed to follow. They will follow just to set an example. So they are also undergoing difficulties. They are also facing problems, just like Vanamas. But do they have karma phala, the reactions of the activity that they are doing, like how we are facing? Do they have?
No.
Yeah.
No, Prabhuji.
So that is the difference. Okay, they may seemingly experience, from our point of view, that they are undergoing some troubles or turmoils in this material world. But this is just to teach us, for whatever activities they are doing, they are not getting any reactions for that, because they are not undergoing any difficulties because of their karma phala. So, and as far as we living entities is concerned, why we are undergoing these difficulties and other problems in life is just because of our own actions. We are enjoying or suffering the reactions of our own actions. But whereas the pure devotees of the Lord or the expansions of Supreme Lord like Rama, Narasimha and all, whoever it is, Matsya Kurma, Varaha, they are not undergoing any reactions of their actions. Is it clear? Okay. So Lord Chaitanya came to earth simply to preach Krishna Bhakti, love of Krishna. In other words, he is Lord Krishna himself, teaching the living entities the proper way to approach Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to this material world just to guide us, to teach us how we can approach Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is like a teacher who, seeing a student doing poorly, takes up a pencil and writes saying, do it like this, A, B, C. From this, one should not foolishly think that the teacher is learning his ABCs similarly. So very good example is given. Just in order to teach the children, the teacher is writing A, B, C, D on the blackboard. So does it mean that the teacher is also learning along with? No. He is just showing the children how to write. He is not learning how to write while writing ABCD. Similarly, although Lord Chaitanya appears in the guise of a devotee, we should not foolishly think he's an ordinary human being. We should always remember that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, God himself, teaching us how to become Krishna conscious, and we must study him in that light. Okay, so we should never mistake the position of Lord Chaitanya. He is also one among us. He is God who came in the form of Chaitanya or as a devotee to teach us how to approach God or Krishna. In the Bhagavad
Hare
Gita,
Krishna.
18 points. Yes.
Sorry, Prabhuji, to disturb.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, let's say one time somebody asked that okay, if we know our prarabdha is so and so, and we have to undergo for various sufferings, then actually, if we are doing all this like spiritual activities, whatever, means he may not have this background. So, what is the difference actually? Even though we are going to undergo all this suffering, so definitely the handling, the way of handling situation, and whatever you feel in ignorance, and if you have the knowledge, then the dealing with the situation is different. And definitely, I understand maybe your other karmic reaction, as we know, that it will be definitely different. But what other we can justify? How can we convince somebody that it is not just a matter of like anyway, whether you do or you don't do, you are going to undergo all this suffering, whatever is in your fate. So how to like add more points if any such question somebody encounter?
Okay. As far as living entities are concerned, there are different aspects for the karma. Okay. When we do an action, immediately it produces, the result of reaction. So the reaction may come immediately. The reaction may come in this life, or it may get forwarded to the next life or lives. Okay. As we know, when we sow a seed, we don't get the fruit immediately, right? Some may give same day, some give after weeks, some after months, some after years. Similarly, in any action that we are doing, we may get the reaction immediately, sometime later, sometime next life, sometime after so many lives. So whatever we are enjoying or suffering in this material world now is called, it's a fructified reaction of the action that we have done in some point of time, either in this life or in the earlier lives. Some are in the seed form. Okay. Some are in the kuta form, means one is already some seed form, okay, which is not sprouted, and kuta form, it is yet to become seed. So this can be nullified, or this can be destroyed, or this can be burnt by our devotional service. So what we are suffering or enjoying now is the reactions of our activities of this life or the earlier lives. So it is already fructified. So we have to undergo the reaction of that in this life. That is what we are suffering now or enjoying now. If it is good, we are enjoying. If it is bad, we are suffering. So whatever is in the stock, which is not yet fructified, that can be destroyed or burnt into ashes. How? By taking up proper devotional service. So when we finish this prarabdha karma, and when we have no more stock of karma or even desire to enjoy anything in future, everything we doubted in the service of the Lord, then this life itself we can go back home, back to Godhead. So by taking up devotional service, we can destroy all the karmas, even prarabdha karma for that matter, it can be destroyed to a certain extent. Okay, provided how much we are serious about taking up devotional service. Let us say at least the karma which is there in stock in the seed and the kuta form, okay, can be destroyed. So this is how we have to make the other person understand. When we take up devotional service seriously, when we are not doing this devotional service for our sense gratification, because devotional service can be done even for sense gratification. We should not do this devotional service for our sense gratification. Rather, we should do this devotional service to please Krishna, for his pleasure. So like that, whatever activities we are doing, we will not get any reaction, and we will be able to make the debit and credit zero. Then we will be able to go back home, back to audit. So definitely the benefit will be there for taking up devotional service. We will not further accrue any sort of reaction, be it good or bad. Does it answer your question, Prabhuji?
Yeah, correct, Prabhuji, noted. Thank you very much. But in argument, means like not in argument, in discussion, maybe he was referring to in I think maybe Mahabharata or Krishna, some serial. In I don't know whether it is correctly represented. They were saying Krishna, Bhagavan was saying that Ms. Draupadi was telling that why you did not save my children. Even you could have saved my children, but they died. But then Lord Krishna said because it was in their fate, it is already predefined. So means like you said, if you are anyway undergo or you have certain fate, definitely is bound to happen, regardless whether you do spiritual activity or not. But I understand, as you said, it will help to not to generate any future and just try to nullify that, because that was also he argued. I don't know whether I was not knowing correctly the full episode, what exactly happened in the Mahabharata. But
So-
that what also was the discussion.
So when he says that anyway he is destined or they're destined for that. So what is after that? What is the destiny? The destiny is spiritual world. So when we have taken a body, we have to leave our body. So we are destined to leave our body. That is for sure, everyone.
Yes.
How we leave our body, it is different. But we are all destined to leave the body because they have taken a material body or they are in the material body. So after leaving the body, what is the destination? So that is a big question, no? After leaving the body, are they going to take another birth or they are going back home, back to Godhead? So we are destined to death because we have come in this material world, taken a material body. But before we leave this body, we have to purify our existence. And we should not have any balance, either credit or debit in the balance sheet. It should be zero. Then we will not come back. So destiny is that we have to die. Okay, what is that? Janmana Jayadev. What is that? No, not Janmana. This thing. Jadasi Dhruvam Mrityur. What is that sloka? Dhruvam Janma Mritasya. Okay, so we have taken birth means we have to die. So there should be even the Yadu dynasty, the whole Yadu dynasty, they had to leave the body. How? By fighting each other. So that is how Lord Krishna, he arranges their devotees somehow or other. They leave the body, but they don't come back. How they are leaving the body, it is immaterial as far as the devotees are concerned. But as far as the non-devotees are concerned, how they leave the body, it's a big concern, because that is how the Lord determines what form they will get next as far as non-devotees. For non-devotees, they may leave the body even in a car accident. That doesn't mean it is inglorious. He may have arranged the leaving of that particular devotee's body in a particular way for some reason, whatever reason he knows. But he will not come back to this material world again because of the karma, because he has made his karma nil. The devotee, I'm talking about the devotee. So it doesn't mean that when a pure devotee leaves the body in a so-called inauspicious way that we think, okay, they have done a lot of bad karma and that's why they have left the body in that way. Okay, even Lord Krishna, for that matter, how did he leave this body? The hunter shot an arrow, isn't it? So is it a good sign? Is it his karma bhala? No. So the destiny is that we all have taken birth and we have to die. How, because the Pandavas, that is, who is that? Draupadi's children. No, Krishna did not save. Krishna saved them. Krishna saved them because in that scenario, in that episode, they had to leave the body. They left the body, but they attained the spiritual abode. So that is how Krishna saves. Taking away from this material world is saving. Okay. So this is how we have to understand. So it's not that how they die, but what is the destination after death? That is what we have to think of. We may die in any way. Anyway, we have to leave this body. So how we are leaving the body, that is not what matters. Where we go after leaving this body, that is what matters.
Clear, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So any other points? Yes, Prabhuji, Govi Prabhu, you have something to say? You are on mute, I think, Prabhuji. Cannot. No, we cannot hear you. I think you have to leave and come again. We cannot hear you anything. Okay. In the meantime, we'll continue. So in the Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Lord Krishna says, give up all your nonsense and Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji, now it's okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji, this related to that question, I want to add one point. See, for the devotional service start, our purification process is starting. When purification point starting, as you know, materially, then if one to purify in an iron rod, it has to get the quality of the fire, then only get purified. So, as covered, all karma is to be bond. For the material natural law, it is as Prabhu told, is three divided in the status of the karma phala. But for the purification process, when start, it can come to the same life according to Krishna's will. And the purification point starting, then the burning of, because your karma phala never be nullified, can be born the same life. So that's why we are getting suffering to, more in this type, because by Krishna's will and mercy, all our back karma resultants be burning in this life, like iron rod melting on molten in the fire, or even gold is purifying in the fire. So that's why we are getting more suffering. But it should be, as Kunti Devi's prayers, these things, more it is coming, more difficulties, which we should understand that we are very going very near to Krishna by burning our all past karmas. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So in the Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Lord Krishna says, give up all your nonsense and surrender to me. I will protect you. Okay, this is Sarva Dharman Parityaja. We say, oh, surrender, but I have so many responsibilities. That is our statement. And Maya, illusion, says to us, don't do it, or you will be out of my clutches. Just stay in my clutches and I will kick you. So this is what Maya says. Don't leave, don't surrender, because I want to keep you in my clutches. I don't want you to, because she wants to enjoy, Maya. So that's why don't surrender. Surrender means she will lose one customer. Okay, so that's why, because she is enjoying, when the living entity is trying to enjoy the material nature, or when the living entity is trying to enjoy her. But one good thing is the Maya, the moment we try to turn our face towards Krishna, and if we are serious about it, she will not then trouble us. She will help us on the contrary. If we are serious. If we are not serious, then she will trouble us. And she wants to keep all those living entities with her in this material world. But the moment we turn our face towards Krishna, and if we are performing devotional service very seriously, sincerely, then she will not trouble us anymore, because slowly and gradually we are going to Krishna, and Krishna will protect us. So it is a fact that we are constantly being kicked by Maya, just as the male ass is kicked in the face by the she ass when he comes for sex. Similarly, cats and dogs are always fighting and whining when they have sex. Even an elephant in the jungle is caught by the use of a trained she elephant who leads him into a pit. We should learn by observing these tricks of nature. So these are different analogies, Prabhupada is putting forward so that we can understand. Now, if we play with Maya, if we want to enjoy this material world, we'll be, kicked from left, right, and center, and we think that we are enjoying. So to come out of that, we have to take up devotional service. We should do what we are supposed to do in this human form of life. So don't get enamored with all these sensory pleasures and be here in this material world forever. So this is what we have to learn from this. But unfortunately, we don't learn. So this is our mistake. Maya has many ways to entrap us, and her strongest shackle is the female. So in the material world, the thickest, attraction is the opposite sex, male and female. So that's what Prabhupada says here. So that is how the Maya entraps us in this material world, or entangles us in this material world. Of course, in actuality, we are neither male nor female. For this designation, refer only to the outer dress, the body. So here, Prabhupada is making it very clear, making it a very fine point which we have to understand. In actuality, we are neither male or female. Okay. For this designation, so I call myself as male. Ladies call female. Okay. Actually, this designation is only for body, isn't it? So it is only for the outer dress. The soul doesn't have any gender. The soul doesn't have any gender. This is given only to the body because we have a certain physique. So one is called lady or female, one is called male. We're all actually Krishna's servants. Jivere Surubhai Krishnera Nitya Das. But in conditional life, we are shackled by iron chains in the form of beautiful women. Thus, every male is bound by sex, and therefore one who wishes to gain liberation from the material clutches must first learn to control the sex urge. Unrestricted sex puts the one fully in the clutches of illusion. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu officially renounced this illusion at the age of 24. Although his wife was 16 and his mother 70, and he was the only male in the family, although he was a Brahmana and was not rich, he took sannyasa, the renounced order life, and thus extricated himself from family entanglement. So the more we have family entanglement, the more we are getting more and more into this material world, again and again, different, for sense enjoyment. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is setting an example, okay, to leave this family engagement and other so-called sense pleasure. But one should be ready to do that. We should not imitate. So we have to be very, we should not prematurely renounce anything. Unless one is ready, we should not take, or we should not renounce anything. So that should be a mature decision, not a premature decision. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyasa at the age of 24. We cannot do that. One should be ready to do that. Without that, you have the desire to enjoy the material world, or we have the proclivity. Okay, you have the tendency to enjoy this material world, but forcefully we are renouncing means it will not last long. You have to come back. Given a provocation, you will tend to do the same sense gratification again. So artificial renunciation is not what is told here. Okay, so one has to be very careful. We cannot imitate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us, as long as you have the tendency or proclivity to enjoy these senses in this material world, will be bound to this material world. But once you uproot that tree along with the root, not cutting the tree from the surface. If you cut the tree from the surface, what will happen? Again, it will sprout. So we have to remove even the tendency of enjoyment, material enjoyment. When we have something higher, spiritual enjoyment, when we concentrate on spiritual enjoyment, automatically the material so-called enjoyment will take a backseat. That is how we have to renounce, not abruptly. So this, we have to understand, this material enjoyment, what we are trying to enjoy in this material world is inferior. We have something superior enjoyment, that is spiritual enjoyment. When we get the taste of that superior enjoyment, automatically all these so-called inferior material enjoyment will take a backseat. So this is how we have to. So detach, attach. How we can detach? By attaching something higher. So spiritual enjoyment is something really higher. So we have to come to that position. So if we wish to become fully Krishna conscious, we have to give up the shackles of Maya. Or if we remain with Maya, we should live in such a way that we will not be subject to illusion. In the meantime, Haribol, Hare Krishna, no, we were supposed to take Bhagavad Gita by 2 devotees. Are they ready so that I can stop here? Who are Parvati Mataji? Who are supposed to take that first 4 sloka today?
Gopi Prabhu and Jogi Mataji.
Okay. So Gopi Prabhu, are you ready? So I will stop here because otherwise you will not get time.
Prabhuji, what means ready? I can read this one, but explaining, somebody ask question, I can do, but
No, Prabhuji, whatever you have prepared, you just speak
not
that.
prepared, I can read the sloga. Preparing is actually what I in my mind I can tell. Preparing.
Okay,
is
no
not
problem. So 15 minutes, that's enough.
Hare Krishna.
So I will, devotees, I will stop here. Please mark that from Maya has many ways to entrap us. From there we have to read, right? No.
Haribol.
If we wish to become fully Krishna